Well, week one of spring practice is in the books, so let's discuss what we learned from this first week. I know the first thing I noticed is that Rule is really getting these players to believe that they can win and win every game. It's really a good thing to see, considering he hasn't really coached them or learned any plays. I think it's just more attitude, because attitude's half the battle. They can believe they can win, and a lot of times that's good enough. I just believe losing was happening so much there that it got to the point they expected to lose. Now you can see the fire in their eyes, so it's kind of going to be excited to see how this works out this year. Can't wait for August 31st. So today we heard from D coordinator Tony White and offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield. Some interesting notes out of these two press conferences. One, again, we heard the coaching staff talk about how coachable these players are and how willing they are to learn. And that right there just even tells me how much they've got these kids to believe that this coaching staff is the difference, that they are now in a situation and at a program that's going to win. And I'm sure they've seen the successes of Rule at Baylor and Temple, has heard about it, and so they're probably excited. They feel like now they've really got a shot of winning these games, and I think that's the reason why they're so willing to be coachable. They were so willing to listen and learn. They knew what they were doing wasn't working, and so I think that's why they're wanting to learn, they're wanting to get coached, because they want to win. They also talked about, both of them also talked about moving multiple players around to see how they react at different positions and how well they play. This is pretty smart. When you give reps at different positions, you learn what position someone will shine in more easily. I mean, even the players themselves might not realize how well they can do at a position if they've never taken any reps there. TW also talked about how enthusiastic the players seem to be. And he also emphasized that the coaching staff's more about finding out this team's mentality right now than anything else. He's trying to figure out how the players are going to play and what's their mentality going to be. He stated that the X's and O's will take care of themselves. This actually fits Casey Thompson's strength. I brought that up before in my last videos. So that's another reason why I feel Casey Thompson will do well under these coaches. TW also talked about how much admiration he had for Rule, and that he loves being around him, taking notes from him. Talked about this is why Rule's had the success he's had. And I think we've seen why Rule has been successful. I think we all been impressed from what he's done from the short time he's been here, and we've been impressed without him coaching a single day. And he's just so, I've even said it in my other video, Rule's just so likable. It's also why he makes such a great recruiter. So I could see why TW loves the guy so much and likes being around him and loves taking notes from Rule. He also noted a few players as he talked about how many players being moved around from position to position, trying to get a feel on how each will react and play at that specific position. And this actually does a couple of things. If you give everyone quality reps at different positions, it also tells them where is the best fit for that individual player. He seems to be really impressed with a couple of guys. Like one is Malcolm Hartzog. Hartzog is a defensive back, but he said he had him even playing backer. Talked about how versatile Hartzog is and that he's very smart and instinctive. He's got good instincts. Now, I know the last time I looked it up, I think Hartzog was like 5'9", 170 pounds, which would be extremely small for a backer. But he's only 19 years old, and he's got a lot of growth remaining in him. So you never know. Another player he seemed to rave about was John Bullock. Now, John Bullock's another DB, but he's a good size DB. I think he's more of a safety type, but he's 6 foot, 210 pounds. He is a junior now, and he's got more size, so he could probably play the role of linebacker a little better. But TW stated that he's moved him around and he's played him at safety, DB, and linebacker. Another one he talked about was Gage Stinger, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Gage is 6'2", 190-pound defensive back. So he's got a lot of length, mainly for a defensive back. You don't usually see that tall of a defensive back. But he just turned 19 years old. But he talked about how he had 2 turnovers in the red zone today. And you got to remember, Gage is only a redshirt freshman. He also stated how much all the players are battling at these positions, different positions, and how competitive really they are. And it makes sense. They're wanting to do more than whoever else has got to play that specific position. And that's a good thing. You're almost creating competition by moving them around. And I always say, like I said them before, nothing like good old competition to keep players intrigued. And competition just breeds performance and better performance. So I really like this move by them. Satterfield actually talked about how they threw a lot at the players today. He also made a remark which kind of surprised me, but he stated that he's never been around so many big guys before, which, like I said, kind of surprised me since he came from the SEC. I know South Carolina isn't a big dog like Bama or Georgia, but it just caught me off guard, as I would have thought SC would have had a few big boys themselves. Satterfield was also pretty impressed with transfer wide receiver Billy Kemp IV, stating how tough and durable he is. He also talked about how Kemp is a versatile player. He can play inside, outside, and even in the backfield. So that's going to be great to see as this spring and the fall camp come out. Now, we did hear from a couple of players. Quentin Newsome took the podium, but so did Nashmacher. Nutman stated he's still involved. He's evolving well to his new role, and just stated that he's going to keep giving it his all, bringing it every game, every practice and every game. And so you kind of like to see that attitude from players when they're put in a different spot. Some other notes I took out of this week's practice is that I noticed Rule has established some different kinds of discipline and behavior techniques. And I say it this way because there's no other reason for him to do it, but it how do I put it? He put these in to breed competition, togetherness, and discipline. And I'll give you an example. One of them is he isn't allowing any players to wear a single-digit jersey. You have to earn to wear a single-digit jersey. And I love this move. It's kind of like when the defense tries to earn a black shirt, but instead of it just being for the defense, it's for the whole team. And another great thing is, see, on the black shirts, you really didn't even know who earned a black shirt. The media and everybody had to ask, hey, who earned a black shirt? Because they can't wear them when they're playing the games, whereas a single digit sticks out more. When you get to the game, you're watching on television, or the crowd in the audience, they know who's earned it. They get to wear their number, so everybody gets to see who earned that single digit jersey. I mean, even Quentin Newsome made the remark, he wants his 6 back. He wants his number 6 back. And I think it's going to mean more to these guys because they get to go out and show it off. Because when it's something like this, not only they want to earn it, they also want to show it off. So I love this about what he's doing here. I hope this is a tradition that sticks and stays around. Also, Rule is making each player sign in on a sign-in sheet before taking the field and making sure they have their mouthpiece. And again, this is where I say rules and discipline come into fact, because there's no need for him to have them sign in. But it tells them a lot. It tells them who's willing to do what they're told, who's willing. I mean, you could have had players step back and go, I ain't signing in to just go out to practice. I mean, that don't make sense. And that kind of tells you, what attitude each one has. So I kind of like this because it's a small thing, but it tells them a whole bunch about the determination and the willingness of this team that he's talked about. And so I really like that what he's doing here. Now, let's get to the big recruiting weekend we have this weekend. The Huskers have 26 players coming this weekend, and 16 of them are 4 or 5-star players. They had 17. They had 17 scheduled, but Edge Nigel Smith canceled on him, so he won't be coming. That's sad. I really was hoping Nigel Smith would come. We could probably use him. Maybe we could get him to come another week to visit, but I feel he's probably headed to Oklahoma, as that's where he's been leaning this whole time. He is from Melissa, Texas, and Melissa, Texas is just a stone's throw from Oklahoma. Now let's go over some of these players that are visiting who we actually believe are coming and committing to the Huskers, or we have a shot of landing and committing to the Huskers. I mean, the first and foremost is Dylan Raiola. If you haven't heard or if you haven't watched my first video, I already discussed that Dylan Raiola is coming to Lincoln. He is committing to Nebraska, and if you haven't seen that video, watch that video and I tell you why and how I know he's committing to Nebraska. But when he comes this weekend, it's going to be like him just coming home. He's been to Lincoln so many times. He's been on that field so many times ever since he was a kid. So it's just going to be like coming to the house, coming home. But like I said, if you haven't seen that video of where I tell you he's committing to Nebraska and how I know he is, jump over after this and watch that first video. Now let's talk about Williams N1r. I think that's how you pronounce it, N1r. N1r is a 6'5", 250-pound defensive lineman out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. Now this kid's a baller, man. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen this kid play, he's got the speed, the quickness, and agility off that line to dominate a game. And when I see him, I think in Dominic Sue. And I understand that's big, high praise for a man that hadn't even taken the field yet. But watch his film, or even better, if you could watch him in person, he's very impressive. And I know the crystal ball actually says he's leaning towards going to Oklahoma. I kind of hate that. Don't count Nebraska out yet. Mainly when Raiola commits to the Huskers, I could see him coming to Nebraska. But right now he's leaning Oklahoma. But he's a perfect fit for this 3-3-5 defense. He comes here with this defense. He could come in here and shine like I think he can and be a first-round draft pick, just like Sue. Remember, Sue was second overall. He was the second pick overall during his drafts. Now, again, like I said, he's leaning Oklahoma, so I'm afraid that might be where he's headed. But, don't count Nebraska out yet. Now, surprise pick that I really believe the Huskers are going to get a commitment out of is going to be wide receiver Ryan Wingo. Ryan Wingo is a 6'2", 215-pound wide receiver, so he's got good length and a good size body and has great reach. I mean, he's a good route runner, mainly for a high schooler, and can go up and get them with the best of them. My crystal ball believes once Raiola commits to the Huskers, Ryan Wingo is committing to the Huskers as well. So that's my surprise commitment for the Huskers in this recruiting weekend. So you watch that. Watch for that. Now, another top player that's coming this weekend is Brandon Baker. He's an offensive tackle out of Santa Ana, California. He's 6'5", 290 pounds. He's another player the Huskers could steal. I know the prediction right now is saying, all these recruiting sites are saying he's headed to Oregon. But once he gets to Lincoln this weekend, I mean, look out. I could see him switching to the Huskers. I mean, it is a long shot, but the Huskers are in the running. This kid has great size and strength, mainly for a high school player. And I could see him easily breaking into the starting lineup and playing as a freshman. Boy, if we could get Brandon Baker, man, that kind of talent on the line is what we are really needing, and it would just be a boost to this program. Another top recruit visiting this weekend is wide receiver Ryan Pelham, another Ryan that's a wide receiver. Pelham's out of Long Beach, California. He's only 5'11", 165 pounds, but this young man's a long shot to commit to the Huskers. But when Raiola commits, it wouldn't surprise me if Ryan Pelham committed to the Huskers as well. Especially, I think, Dylan Den's probably going to help recruiting some of these players to come to Lincoln. You'll love this kid if he got here. Everybody from Nebraska would love him because he is one of the hardest workers out there. I mean, he fits the Nebraska mindset of hard work and dedication. I know the coaching staff is going to love him. Just his work ethic, get it out of my mouth, and his determination is why he's one of the top players in the country. Like I said, he's only 5'11", 165 pounds, but he's one of the top 100 players in the country, not wide receivers, players. And it's because of his hard work, because he's always one of the hardest working players out there, and he'll make the other players around him work hard. And I feel that if you could get Ryan Pelham to commit, not only do you have a top-notch wide receiver with good speed and hard work ethics, but another coach on the field, because players listen to other players. They'll listen to other players probably more quicker than they will coaches or their parents, for sure. I know the top recruiting sites actually have him going to USC as his destination, but my sources have told me he's going to Oregon, and I understand why everybody's got him leaning to a USC. All these recruiting sites got him USC because they even have Dylan Raiola leaning to go to USC, and I'm telling you right now, Dylan Raiola is committing to the Huskers, period. So I could see Ryan Pelham committing to Nebraska before he commits to USC. Now, obviously, if Dylan did commit to USC and Riley, then yes, then I could see Ryan Pelham then going to USC because of Raiola. Now, for some positive predictions for the Huskers, wide receiver Gatlin Blair out of Barley, Idaho, I believe he's going to commit to the Huskers. This is a tall, lengthy kid as well. He's a 6'2", 180 pounds. He's the 89th player in the country. And my prediction is he's going to commit to the Huskers, especially once Raiola commits to the Huskers. He has great height and can go up and get the ball with the best of them. He's pretty quick. He runs the 100-meter in 10.46. So he's got good speed, especially for his height. I know the recruiting sites have the Huskers at best 4th on his list. But you watch. That's another wild prediction I'm making. He'll be a Husker for sure. Another of these top recruits coming this weekend that I believe is headed to the Huskers, and I'm real positive they are, is tight end Carter Nelson out of Ainsworth, Nebraska. Carter's 6'4", 215 pounds. I feel like he could even commit this weekend once he's here. I know it states he's 215 pounds, but I'm wanting to say he's probably more around 205 than 215. So he's definitely going to have to put some weight on him, get bigger, so he could handle anyone lined up in front of him on the line. But Carter also has good speed, especially for a tight end. He runs that 100-meter in 11.05. That's pretty good for a tight end. You could count Carter Nelson on being a Husker, not this weekend, somewhere in the near future. Another one I feel is going to be a Husker, and this is a big one too, is offensive tackle Andrew Sprague. He's 6'8", 270 pounds. 6'8", man. He is a grown man already in high school. Probably has long arms, great reach. I can see him being a left tackle. And Sprague is coming here, and I could see him coming in here and breaking through the depth chart early. Andrew is out of Kansas City, Missouri, which is a stone's throw away from Lincoln. I know the recruiting sites now have him committing to Missouri, but I think Rule and company will end up convincing this kid to commit to the Huskers. You watch. Missouri is closer for his family, but Lincoln is not really that far from Kansas City. Now, there is a few more coming this weekend that I feel Nebraska could get commits out of. A few is offensive tackle Grant Bricks out of Logan, Iowa. I feel he could commit to the Huskers if we could just hold off Iowa and Iowa State. Defensive back Mario Buford out of DeSoto, Texas. I feel he will come to the Huskers. I think his chances of coming are probably up there 80%, 80-90%. Buford's been up in Lincoln a few times. He's coming again this weekend. I know exactly where DeSoto is. I actually taught 7th grade math there at DeSoto 15, 20 years ago. And Mario's a great player, so I expect Mario Buford out of DeSoto to commit to Nebraska. A couple others that is probably going to commit to Nebraska, probably at 90% or more. It's wide receiver Davon Hall out of Bellevue. He's another tall wide receiver at 6'2", 190 pounds. So if anything, man, Rhule's getting some tall, lengthy guys where if you throw the ball, you go up and get the ball. Also, who's going to probably commit for Nebraska? I think both these guys are committing to Nebraska. Hall and another one is athlete Isaiah McMorris out of Omaha. I feel both of them are going to commit to Nebraska, maybe even this weekend. I feel like we'll get 2 or 3 commits out this weekend, and them are probably the more sure ones that will probably commit. I also feel like the Huskers could easily get 2 Texas guys down in the Houston area, and I mean in the high range of committing to the Huskers. Offensive line Gibson Pyle, he's an offensive lineman, 6'5", 275 pounds. He's out of Houston. And tight end Ian Flint, 6'5", 248 pounds. He's out of Katy, Texas, which is basically a suburb of Houston. They're right there. So they're both in the Houston area. Also, there are a couple of top recruits out of Florida that I've heard that are planning to come to Lincoln for the spring game. And if they do, I feel the Huskers have a great shot of landing at least one of these guys, if not both. Even though it is a long shot right now. But one of them is Edge Willis McGahee the fourth. He's a 6'2", 215 pounds out of Miami. Willis has already been to Lincoln. He visited on March 20th and really loved the place. He raved about his experience here, and now he's scheduled, and I confirmed he is scheduled to come to the during the spring game. And the spring game might be the Huskers' best recruiting weapon, because you got a combination of the staff, facilities, and all that, and then you have the fans. You got all the fans grouped together, and I guarantee you watch it, the fans will sell him on it. So once he gets here, I could see Gahee committing to Nebraska. Another player I heard rumor that he's supposed to come here during the spring game is defensive back Kinsley Faustin, I believe it's pronounced. He's 6', 175 pounds, out of Naples, Florida. Now, I haven't been able to confirm that he is coming April 22nd during the spring game, but one of my sources stated to me that he is coming. But right now, I really can't confirm that. If he does, then we do have a shot of landing him. If we can get him here, then we're definitely in the running for him. But my gut tells me he's going to commit to Iowa State and probably not even visit here. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. But I also want to talk about, if you haven't heard, it's confirmed that Dillarella is coming back after this weekend to the spring game. And this is another thing I think kind of supports me and Connor Hayden. If you don't know Connor, he runs the Corn Craze channel on here. I bet you most of you do. He's already stated in his videos he's committing to Nebraska. And he's like me. There's just I just don't see him going anywhere else but the Huskers. And this kind of confirms it. Dylan announced that he is coming back for the spring game, and he's bringing his whole family. And I know you might be thinking, well, that ain't a big deal. Dominic played here. His uncle got a coaching job here. But he ain't just bringing his father and his uncle. He's flying in his grandparents and them and his family in Hawaii and bringing them. That's a sign, guys. To me, that's a sign. And it makes sense, because when you watch my video and I make the prediction, not only he's committing here, but he's going to commit here during this weekend. I really wasn't thinking for some reason about, because I made the remark, that he was going to commit this weekend, because what better than to commit here with the fans, the way the fans are. At the time, he wasn't committed to coming during the spring game, and I just wasn't thinking there, but I could see it. That matter of fact, that's probably even better. He comes during the spring game. You already got the crowd of, well, you got 75, 80,000, maybe more, might be sold out during the spring game. And then wouldn't it be great, like during halftime, he makes that commitment, maybe out on field or whatever? I mean, that sounds to me like Dominic Raiola, what he would do. That'd be great just to see him make that commitment to come to the Huskers, how this crowd's going to react. And that also opens the eyes to the other recruits that are there for the weekend. Man, this would be great. Man, I hope that is what's going to happen. That would be awesome to see. So let's find out. But I think now that's probably when he's going to make his commitment announcement, is probably during the spring game or his visit here. Now, before we go, I wanted to get everyone's opinion on which big country hat is the best. I have three options. I have the red hat with the traditional white lettering right here. And then I have what I call the black shirt, black hat with the red lettering. I like the name of that. I named it the black shirt, black hat. But I also, on top of that, did the black shirt, black hat with the red lettering, but I did the white in a white border, or the N and the white border, so you can see the difference in them right here. And I like that white border. So if you guys don't mind, tell me which one you think's the best one. That's the one I'll probably start giving away. Remember, I already made an announcement when one of my videos hits 100 likes, then I'm going to give a hat away to one of the subscribers. And so if you don't mind, tell me which one is best for you, which one you like the best. So click the like button, and then in the comments, just tell me which one you like the best, and that'd be the one I give. I mean, honestly, if whoever I draw, what name I ever draw, they could have a choice of in any of the three, because I could easily get all three of them. So don't mind, tell me which one you guys like the best, and right now maybe we'll go with the majority. Right now I'm sitting at 76 likes on my first video, so I think we're going to hit 100 likes. So that will be the first one where I give away the hat. And like I said, I'll do that on all my videos when they hit 100 likes. I also want to thank everyone for subscribing. I've had the channel a couple weeks, and now I'm up to 94 subscribers, so I want to thank all of you. The problem I have is I only could see subscribers that have their subscriptions open to the public. So out of these 94, I only have 16 that I could see, which means I can't put your name in the drawing and draw your name if I don't know who you are. So you got to make your subscriptions public for me. And if you want to know how to do that, you just go up to your YouTube channel, to your logo at the top right corner, click on it, go down and click on settings, and then off to the left there will be some tabs to the left. Go down to privacy, click on privacy, and then you'll see playlist and subscriptions. And obviously playlist is up your playlist if you want to keep them private. But then you'll see the second one says keep all my subscriptions private. So when it's on, it keeps anybody you subscribe to private. They don't know who you are. They don't see you. If you want to be a part of this list, you got to uncheck that whether your subscriptions are public. It does let everybody know that you've subscribed to them, which I know I don't care. Mine are all public. So I don't want you to miss out on one of these drawings, because I'm also planning to give away tickets to the games this year. Mainly with Rules first year, you might want to go to one of these. Again, I can't put your name in the hat and draw your name if I don't know you've subscribed to the channel. So you got to make it public so you could have a chance to win one of them tickets. I'll probably be drawing them in the summer, this summer, when the fall gets here, because I haven't got the tickets yet. They haven't given them out yet, but I ought to be getting them probably, I'd say, around the end of May or something. That's usually when they come in. And then, like I said, I'll probably go to this year, because the Rules there and all that. I'll probably make a trip and go, but I can't go to all of them. So I'll definitely give away the rest. I usually just don't do anything with them, to be honest with you. But I've always taken my tickets. I'm from the old school. I went way back when you just couldn't get tickets. Season tickets were actually stayed within a family. You know, a family would have had season tickets, and then they would pass it down to their kids because they were so hard to get. And that was before they expanded the stadium and all that. So I've always kept my tickets, even though I don't go a lot each year. And then a lot of times, like I said, I don't sell them or anything. I just don't use them. So this year, because of the channel, I'm going to give them away. And to me, that's more fun anyway. And then that way I'm giving back to you guys for being, subscribers and watching the videos. Again, I really want to thank all the great Husker fans. Again, it just proves my point. We have the best fans in the world. You guys are always coming through and are so supportive of all the Husker channels on YouTube. I know I am. I'm subscribed to every Husker channel. If you got a Husker channel, I subscribe. I mean, before I even watch any of your videos, you're Husker, I subscribe. That's just how I bleed. That's the way I am. In the area I'm in a bigger city I'm in, you'll see a lot of homeless people. So you get a lot of people begging for money or asking for money. And I don't usually do a lot of that because if not, you'd be constantly giving people money. The only time I did it was I was pulling up to a light and the guy was asking for money. He had his little sign, but he had a Nebraska hat on. And I rolled down the window and pulled out of my pocket a $20 bill and called him over and said, "Here you go." I go, "You're only getting this because of that hat." And that's about time the light turned green, and I handed it to him and drove off. Thank you again for all your support. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and click on notifications so you don't miss any videos. But for one, you don't miss out on any giveaways, especially the ticket giveaways that are coming this summer. So again, thank you everyone. And until the next video, go Big Red.